What's going on today? Happy Friday. Today's homework assignment 50. We made it to 50. Today's objective, I can solve problems involving indirect measurement using shadow reckoning. All right, so we're going to see two examples of using indirect measurement. One using shadows, another using a different method because there's no shadows involved. But it's pretty cool. So let's take a look at this first problem. The lead statue of the Korean War Memorial in Washington, D.C. casts a 43.5-inch shadow. At the same time, a nearby torus casts a 32-inch shadow. If the torus is 64 inches tall, how tall is the lead statue? So here's something cool. What this is saying is that if you know your height, if you're standing next to something that is a lot taller than you, if you know your height, and if you know the height of your shadow and the height of the shadow that that figure is casting, or the length of that shadow that the figure is casting, you can determine the height of that figure. All right. And the reason that we can determine it is because of what we were talking about yesterday and the idea of similar figures. Okay. We have two similar figures here, and basically they form a right triangle. So remember, we talk a lot about corresponding sides. Well, if we were to take a look at what sides corresponded to each other here, well, the person's height, which is right here, is going to correspond to the figure's height. In addition, the shadow that the person casts is going to correspond to the shadow that the figure casts. All right, so we have our corresponding sides, and we're given that these are similar figures, okay? So let's go ahead and let's figure out. So let's go statue over person. All right. So let's figure, let's go with their heights first. So the statue's height, we don't know. It's h inches. All right. The person's height is 64 inches. Let's see, the shadow, the statue's shadow is 43.5 inches. And the person's shadow is 32 inches. All right. So all we're going to do is we're going to use our cross product to determine the value of h. All right. So we'll have 32h is going to be equal to, let's see, 64 times 43.5, which is going to be 2,784. Divide 32 by both sides. We get that h is equal to 87 inches, which tells us that the height of the statue is 87 inches. 87 inches, I believe, is approximately 8 feet. I think it's a little, let me think. Well, 120 would be 10 feet. 108 would be 9 feet. And I think 94 is 8 feet. So it's a little less than 8 feet. All right. All right. So let's see one more. We're going to use a similar idea. Now, this is the type of indirect measurement where we can determine longer lengths, basically on like a two-dimensional plane. In the figure, triangle STU is similar to triangle VQU. Find the distance across the pond. Okay, so we're trying to find what the distance is right above here. So where it says X meters. Now, here's one thing that we want to use to help us out here. If we're trying to find this distance, and we know that we're dealing with similar triangles, what side corresponds to that side? on the smaller triangle. Well, that would be the side ST. What else are we given? We are given one side length over here. So we're told that this is 16 meters. And what does this correspond to on the smaller triangle? Well, it corresponds to this side over here that deals with the 10 meters. So we can use that in order to help us out. So my ratio that I'm going to set up is big triangle to small triangle. All right. So let's set up our big triangle to our small triangle. Let's go with that missing side first. So x, and what side corresponds to x on the small triangle? 20 is going to be equal to 16 over, on my small triangle, 10. Well, let's use our cross product. All right, we'll be getting 10x is equal to 20 times 16, which is 320. Divide 10 by both sides. X is equal to 32 meters. And that would be the length of the pond, the distance across the pond. All right. Hey, that's all that it is. We're still sticking with that idea of similar triangles and moving forward with it. All right. Take a look at those practice problems. You got any questions, jot them down, bring them to class. I'll see all of you on Monday.